You're watching Global News Morning.
Protein. It's an important building block for our bodies. We'll find out more about why we need it and ideas on how to get enough, no matter what your diet plan is. Stay with us.
Protein, protein, protein. It's one of the main macronutrients that we need. But how much do we need to have every day? Dietitian Andrea Hallwigner joins us with her little display there. She's got all kinds of things out there. Andrea, is that all protein in front of you? Because I see pasta, and I think pasta is a carb.
You bet. And I think it's a common myth that people think, of course, protein is just your meats, your poultries, eggs, lentils, nuts, seeds, those types of things. And of course, those are great for protein, but I did put some grains on here. I put some quinoa and some pasta because they also are good sources of protein. So, for example, a cup of pasta that's cooked has about 9 grams of protein in it, and an egg has about 6 grams of protein, just to give you sort of a context.
How much protein should we aim to have each day?
Great question. We get asked this all the time in our office. So 10 to 35% of your total calories is what we're after from a protein percentage per day. So for example, if you were consuming about 2,000 calories a day, that looks like anywhere between 50 to 175 grams of protein a day. So of course we know people that are more plant-based, vegans, vegetarians are going to probably be more on the lower end of that protein range. And then meatitarians, people that eat a little bit more animal foods, might sort of be in the mid to the upper range. And we know, hey, there's a lot of different ways you can be healthy. It really just depends on what I call your food personality and the types of protein-rich foods that you actually enjoy.
And take us through some of the options that you have there, because there are some great options for folks who are avoiding meat.
Yeah, so for vegetarians, our main protein sources, when you're not eating things like your meats and dairy types of foods, you're going to be going more for things like your lentils, your chickpeas, your black beans. Hemp heart's a fantastic source of protein. And then, of course, all your nuts and seeds, really great. And then, like we talked about, some of those grains and whole grains in particular are going to be good sources of protein as well.
What would happen in our body if we didn't eat enough protein? What would we feel?
Okay, so a couple of things happen. The most immediate thing that we would notice immediately if we just stripped out a lot of the protein-rich foods in our diet is we would get hungry a lot. So protein provides really good satiety and fullness. It helps to stabilize and sustain our blood sugar control and keep us full throughout the day. So when we're educating people around proper meal planning, regardless if you're consuming animal foods or vegetarian-rich foods, you want to make sure you put a good source of protein in every one of your major meals. And I would say ideally at the most hungry times of the day. And this tends to be in the mid-afternoon for a lot of people when our energy is a little low from work. That's also a good time to have just a little bit of protein, whether that's a bit of yogurt or a handful of nuts, something like that, to just top up again that energy management.
Let's talk weight loss, because a lot of people go with like a higher protein, a lower carb for weight loss. What's your take on that?
Well, Leslie, you know me well. I'm a carb-loving dietitian. I always want people to consume all foods. I'm not a fan of any kind of a diet. And what we notice for a lot of people that really go extreme and strip out too much carbohydrate out of their diet, first of all, their brain doesn't have the energy and stamina that it needs, because our brain runs exclusively on carbohydrate. And the other thing, too, is there's a lot of different ways people that are struggling with their weight can lose weight. Regardless if you took out calories from carbohydrate, from protein, or fats, caloric deficit over time is the driver for weight loss. What we know about lower carb diets is, of course, when people strip carbohydrates out of their diet, in that first day or in that first week, they might even lose 5 or 10 pounds of water mass, because carbohydrates, of course, store a lot of fluid on the body. 1 gram of carbohydrate stores about 3 grams of water. And so that big initial loss that people experience following a low-carb diet tends to be a fluid shift off the body. So what research really shows is when we follow people out over time, regardless if that calorie deficit came from a protein, a carb, or a fat, they all lead to about the same average amount of weight loss over time.
So think calories, don't think food groups. Okay, well, you've set us up with a ton of great ideas for protein. The pasta one is a real surprise to me, and I'm really glad because Avery loves to have spaghetti for supper, and I'm always like, oh, maybe we should. But you know what? Now, do it, and throw some of those.
Pasta, some veggies on there, a little sprinkle of cheese. Fantastic summer meal, without question.
Love that. All right, thank you, Andrea. You can find more information, recipes, healthy eating advice at healthstandnutrition.com. We're heading to a break. We're back.